You're watching the Dakota Drive on KFYR Plus with sports director Luke Gamble. Sponsored by Trusted Tire and Auto.
Welcome into the Dakota Drive on this Monday afternoon, 2 o'clock. Happy to be with you here on Monday afternoon as we kick off the starts of another week. And with that, we're starting off with a bang in terms of where we're at in the high school basketball season. Really excited to talk some high school hoops today, and then we're going to talk some college hoops as well as we welcome on Karl Sorby, the Dakota College at Bottineau men's head basketball coach. They got a huge win yesterday in pretty dramatic fashion, so we're going to talk about that here in just a little bit with him. But first up, we're going to talk some high school hoops, and with that is the WDA, and the WDA is heating up, and with that is, all of these ranked teams, all of these teams are ranked. We've got 3 ranked teams on the boys' side, on the girls' side, 3 ranked teams on the boys' side as well. New rankings coming out here in the next hour or so. And now they're getting to the point where they're all playing each other. And so this next week is going to be a huge stretch for these WDA teams as they start to play one another. At least the ranked teams start to play one another. And so with that, I wanted to talk to Mandan's girls basketball coach, new girls basketball coach, Tanner Purintun, because he is in his first year as head coach, and he's got his Mandan girls undefeated so far on the season. And Mandan has a huge test tomorrow night as they welcome in Century to come into the gym. So that'll be a big game for the Braves. And with that, I mean, first, Tanner, you're finally hitting the tough stretch. I mean, I feel like you're probably going to say it's all tough, but as you have gotten a chance to play quite a few games now, and then you're like, all right, your next week is Century, Legacy, and Minot. How do you prepare for what the next week or so is going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Every game is tough, and I know some people will roll their eyes at that, but I mean, every night in the WDA is a tough one to win, and you can see that by, people are beating anybody. Jamestown beat Bismarck High, Bismarck High beat Legacy, we beat Bismarck High, Wilson took us down to the wire. On any given night, anyone can be beat, and so these are 3 big games for us, and but it's just another opportunity for us to kind of see where we're at, and it's just another opportunity for us to take some steps forward.
Well, you're 8-0 on the season, so you've obviously had your fair share of time to be around these girls. The first several games you guys played weren't necessarily close contests, and then you had that Jamestown game at home where you were kind of you were breathing a sigh of relief, I think, after that one was over. And then you go and play at Williston, and they gave you a run for your money too. So now that you've had a chance to play a couple of close games with these girls, what have you seen from them that's shown that they're prepared to play in that kind of situation, even when you've got a pretty young team on your hands?
Yeah, and when you have a young team, sometimes you have some growing pains, and sometimes that means your mindset always isn't right. And I think we didn't have quite the right mindset for that Jamestown game. And at halftime, the message was like, girls, this is ugly, but we just got to find a way to win. Like, that's the name of the game. And so I was proud of their effort in that game in the second half, just finding a way to win. And, same thing with Williston. We were up, I think, like 16 or something like that. And then Williston kind of caught fire and had it to 1 point there for a little bit, and our girls responded. And so we've been battle tested a little bit. And in those moments, our girls have responded. And so I think when you have a young team like we have, anytime that you can, kind of have those moments where you're tested, and it only makes you better. And at the end of the day, the name of the game is win 3, win 2 before you lose 2, right? And try to get to that state tournament. And so, once you get to that WDA tournament, 2 seeds kind of go out the window. It really doesn't matter. Like, it's going to be a tough game. Every game is going to be tough. And so I'm glad that we've been tested a little bit, and I'm sure we're going to be tested this week and next week as well.
I know that when you and I talked before the season, you said like, "Hey, we've got some pretty good potential." Like I know that we have some good potential, but I don't know if maybe everyone else knew what kind of potential this team has had. Have you had people come up to you that have said, "Hey, we're surprised, pleasantly surprised that you guys have been as competitive as you have been." What's the reaction been like in Mandan as you've taken over this year?
Yeah, I mean it's been really good, and you know we lost four solid seniors from last year, and then we had some kids decide not to play this year as well. And so I think when that happened, a lot of people lowered their expectations a lot for this team, and we're young, but man, we've had just a bunch of girls that have showed up every single day and have worked their tail off and have really bought into kind of the culture that we're preaching and the system and style that we want to play. And it's a lot different than what they're used to. And so the first couple weeks, I think it was a little eye-opening, and there were, a little bit of just early growing pains adjusting to everything being new. But they've done a great job of adjusting, and I think we're getting better each and every day and each and every week. And so yeah, it's been a good start to the year. But again, we're not where we want to be yet, right? We want to be playing our best basketball in March, but where we're at right now, I think we've done some good things.
Obviously you've been around the WDA plenty and as an assistant coach some, and then at St. Mary's as an AD. I know you saw plenty of basketball games while you were the athletic director there, but has there been anything that's been surprising to you or maybe that you didn't expect as you've jumped back into a coaching role in the WDA?
You know, I wouldn't say really surprising. It's been good to get back in. I loved coaching at Bismarck High and being part of the WDA. There's so much energy around the WDA. Just every single game is a dogfight, and so then you go down to Linton and you're on the football side of things, but still coach girls basketball, um, and we're actually doing a lot of similar things in Mandan that we did in Linton on those girls teams. Um, and so then coming back up to St. Mary's, yeah, you watch a lot of games, but I don't know, you kind of forget the intensity a little bit. Because when you're the AD, you're just focused on all the games going well and, you know, eligibility and schedules and just making sure everybody's, all the logistical pieces, you kind of lose the maybe intense side of things a little bit. And so now being back on the sidelines, on the court, yeah, the intensity hits and you're just like, all right, we're back in it.
Yeah. How obviously you have a couple of small kids at home, and at first that's why you were kind of stepping away, and then you get thrust back into a coaching opportunity. How have your kids liked being back around and dad being a coach again?
Yeah, they've loved it. And when I was coaching down in Linton, we only had one kid at the time, and she was pretty young, so she barely remembers that
Yeah.
season of life. And so now we've got three kids and a 6 and a 4-year-old, and so they know what's going on. And the girls have just been fantastic to them. They'll come to practice every now and then, and we had the girls over for supper one night, and so our girls loved that. And so it's special too. I just remember when I took this job, that's kind of what I said in the interview was like, I want to create a program that this can be something that my girls can look up to these girls. And it's not just my girls, but any young girl in Mandan is looking at our program and they're like, I want to be a part of that. And so I think we've done a good job, and I think our girls have been fantastic. And I think we've got a really special culture and a really good thing going on right now. And so it's been fun to have my girls be a part of it. And um, you know, I know that my wife, she's a saint. She's got a special place in heaven reserved for her, as do all coaches' wives. And so just appreciate her, being willing to let me do this and kind of supporting me along the way. That always means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as you've kind of ramped up the intensity as things go along, I mean, I know you start out with those non-conference games and got a chance to play some teams from the East, and then you jump in the WDA and it just keeps kind of going more and more uphill. So how have you seen the girls respond? I mean, I know at first it's a lot of young girls learning a lot of new systems, and then now you're kind of getting comfortable with your systems and I'm sure adding more in. I mean, how have you seen the girls respond in terms of just the big adjustment of learning so much new stuff with the new staff?
Yeah. Yeah, I think early on, I thought we had talent, and I told the girls I think we have talent. What I didn't know if we had was the toughness, and so the first couple weeks, it was all centered around toughness and just being tough, and so that's pretty much what all of our practices was just how do we become tougher, and when you're doing all those types of things, you don't get to do as much install as you would like and X's and O stuff. And so we didn't, I mean, like I think about that Jamestown game that we went down to the wire. I mean, we hardly had any sets in, to be honest with you, at that point, and I think we only had one or two out of bounds plays. And so then Christmas break happens, and we were able to install a lot more and add a lot more offensively and defensively. And so with every step of the way, I think our girls early on adjusted to kind of the tough practices and the intensity that I wanted to see. And now, as of late, we've been installing more and learning more. And I think our girls have adjusted well. And, I think that they've done a really nice job of mentally staying locked in at practice and retaining the things that we're teaching and being able to execute it in the games.
Well, as you get ready to go into this, I know you've had, experience as an assistant basketball coach, but this is so much different than coaching football where you have a week to prepare for a team, right? So how much have you looked at Century and watched, their film and stuff up to this point before you get to a couple of days before you play them?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my downtime is watching film. And so, even before this week, I had watched, probably 3 or 4 games of theirs. That's just when you're a coach, you just really don't have a life. You just go home and spend time with your kids. And when your kids go to bed, you work and watch film for another 2, 3 hours. And so I had seen them, but that was, Coach Carr had the court named after him this weekend, and unfortunately, I could not attend that, and it killed me. But I had to watch some film on Century, and so I figured if anybody would understand, Coach Carr would understand that film needed to be watched. So it's there's a lot of film watching. Century's a really solid team, and we're gonna be we're gonna be in for a good test tomorrow.
Obviously, you have a lot of young players. They've got a lot of young players. How do you slow them down on offense? I know they played Legacy really well defensively, and it was kind of a low-scoring first half. How do you kind of keep them at bay and slow them down this week?
hmm Yeah, they execute their stuff really well, and they're a really disciplined team. They've got some talented players. They've got some good shooters. I don't think that there's just one magic secret or formula to stopping Century. Like they can hurt you in a lot of different ways, and so we've got to be solid across the board, whether that's transition defense, whether that's closeouts, box outs, understanding their sets and being where we're supposed to be. They do a lot of good things. They're a really solid team, and they have multiple people that can hurt you too. They're not just one person. They've got a few different girls that can hurt you in different ways, and so our message to our girls is just going to be effort. I mean, we got to be. That's kind of been our identity this year is be relentless on the defensive side of the ball, and I think if we do the little things and continue to be relentless on the defensive side of the ball and have that urgency, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, Friday night was the first chance I've got to see him in person, and you kind of forget that there's, multiple 3 or 4 or 5 girls out there that are going to knock down shots. And, one time down the court, it's one person knocking down a three, and the next time it's somebody else driving and making a bucket. And it seems like every night when I see their stat sheet, there's 3 girls that have 15 points or more. So excited to see that matchup for sure. You mentioned Coach Carr, and I wanted to ask you about him being from Linton and having been coached by him and that kind of thing. Linton named their court after him this weekend, and I know you said that you weren't able to be there, but for somebody who knows Coach Carr so well and has so much experience with him, I mean, just from your perspective, how much of a well-deserved honor is that, and just how much does he mean to the people in that community down there?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible and very deserving. And, um, I think it's probably safe to say that I would not be where I'm at today without Coach Carr and the influence that he had on me. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that would say the exact same thing. And so he was an incredible coach. He was an incredible mentor. And, at this point now, he's a great friend. And he's impacted so many lives along the way. And he's instilled, a lot of what we're doing at Mandan right now, it stems from Coach Carr, and what he instilled in me as a player, the toughness, the discipline, the accountability, things like that. And, you don't realize it when you're a 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kid. In the moment, you're kind of like, man, this kind of stinks. Like, he's strict and, it's tough. And, this is kind of like a military boot camp a little bit. And then you get out of high school. Well, first of all, then you have success. I mean, we had a lot of success down there. And so when you win, you're just like, okay, it all makes sense. It's paying off. But then you get out of high school and you get into the real world and, college and career and parenthood and just everything. And you're just like, man, I'm a lot tougher in life and can get through a lot more in life because of what I learned playing basketball for Coach Carr. And that's why my passion is with kids and being in schools and having an impact on kids, because I just see if you have positive experiences in high school like what I had, I just think it can shape, really it just puts you in a better position to have success in the future. And so I think that's what he's done. He's put kids in a position to have success as adults. And I mean, really, if you look around the Bismarck Mandan area, there's a lot of business owners that came from Linton in the 80s and 90s and played basketball for Coach Carr. And it's not a coincidence that those people become really good officials, really good business leaders, good parents, good teachers, coaches, whatever the case may be. And I do think it's safe to say that a lot of those things, those traits stem from being coached by Coach Carr. So he's incredible. I'm very grateful for him. Love him dearly. And like I said, it kind of killed me not being able to be down there. But like I said, if anybody would understand, I figured Coach Carr would understand.
And I assume that I know we talked about this a couple years back, but I assume that he also taught you driver's ed.
He did teach me driver's ed. And oh man, yeah. He has some really good stories. He's taught driver's ed for a long time. And I'm holding back because I know Jamie Richter,
Yeah,
and I
I
know a
think I
lot of
remember
people
this
listening to
story.
this, and I think a lot of people that know Jamie Richter would appreciate this story, but I'm going to refrain from embarrassing her on TV. But if you ever have Jamie Richter on an interview or something like that, or see her in person, ask her about her driver's ed story.
Will do. I believe I remember bits and pieces of that story. But that's awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us, man. I know it's a big week ahead. Gonna be excited to see how the week turns out and see how the
Yeah.
rest of the season turns out as we inch closer and closer to February and March. But I appreciate you taking the time today, Tanner.
Yeah, you bet, Luke. Thanks for having me.
All right, have a good one, man. All right, Tanner Purintun, the head girls basketball coach for the Mandan Braves. Mandan's got tough sledding ahead of them this next week. We're going to see how good of a team they can be and how good of a team they are. And I'm excited to see just where they stand after the next week or so. Mandan going to be taking on Century tomorrow. That game will be in Mandan. They play Legacy later in the week on Friday, and then they play versus Minot on next Tuesday. So Century's ranked number 2, so tomorrow it'll be number 2 versus number 3, as long as the standings hold as the same as they were last week, which I have a feeling that they will, in terms of those top 3 spots at least. And then Friday they'll play against Legacy. Legacy's either going to be number 5 or receiving votes in the polls more than likely. And then next Tuesday they play against Minot, who's the number 1 team in the state. So good chance that's number 1 versus number 3 happening there. Mandan, really good, really young is the other thing. I mean, they've still got a lot of good basketball to be played against them. The one of the players that is not young is Mimi McAllister, who is making a massive impact as a senior. She's been really impressive as a guard, but Anna Claire Bugby, one of their younger players, she's a sophomore. She's made a huge impact there in the middle of the floor, and is going to be a name that is going to be a household name here in the States pretty soon. If you don't already know her name, you should definitely look into watching her play basketball, because she's fantastic and she's only going to get better, which I think is evident with the way that Mandan is playing basketball right now. But as we turn the page, we're gonna focus on a little bit of college basketball here. Shift from high school to college. NDSU has been fantastic. UMary has been fantastic. The UMary women's split this weekend. They played number 2 Mankato really closely on Friday for about 3/4 of the game, and then Mankato kind of pulled away there late. But another team that has just caught my attention over the course of the weekend is Dakota College at Bottineau. The men's program, 14-5 on the season. They've won 4 straight games. And they are silently making their way through the conference in a really big way, and obviously still pretty early on in the conference slate. But DCB goes on the road yesterday and gets a big win against Lake Region State, 85-83, courtesy of a buzzer beater from Marquez Tyree. And so not only an exciting win, but a big win. And with that, we're going to welcome in their head coach, Karl Sorby. Coach, first off, thanks for joining us and hopping on today. I'm sure you had a late arrival back to Bottineau yesterday. An exciting win. Tell me what was going through your head there late in that game as you get get the last possession and get a drive down the court and get a chance knowing that you're going to have a chance to put up a shot there. Can you hear us on this end, Coach? All right, we're going to come back and see if we can't get connected with head coach Karl Sorby there in just a second. DCB with a big win over the course of the weekends. I'm going to just shoot Karl an email real quick. Dakota College at Bottineau now 14-5 on the season. They beat Lake Region State 85-83. And while we're waiting here, we'll show you Marquez Tyree's game-winning shot yesterday. They come down the court with less than 10 seconds left. And yeah, just a nice little drive to the hoop from the corner and gets it off the glass and just beats the buzzer for the win. So 85-83, it was a tie ball game against Lake Region State there with 12 seconds left. And finding a way to win that one was definitely a statement, as DCB suffered 2 losses to start the season, and since then it's kind of been just a completely different tale as they've gone on to start the year 14-5 and kind of midway through conference play here, or early on in conference play here, just 2-0 in conference play, but they'll play at United Tribes here next week, so they've got some big games coming up. We'll see if we can't get Coach in here one more time. Karl, can you hear me? All right. I think you can hear me, but I can't hear you.
I'm going to keep trying.
There we
Can you hear me
go.
now?
All right, there we go. How's it going, man? Thanks for hopping on with us for a few minutes here.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not on a lot of these meetings, so I think systems were screwed up. I couldn't hear anything, and then trying to figure out how to get you to hear me. It's always an adventure with those things. The technology is not my strong suit. Not I'm don't feel like I should be that far out of the loop in my mid 30s, but it's happening.
Hey, well, you're a pretty good basketball coach, it looks like. 14-5 on the year. Walk us through that game winner yesterday. You know you've got one more go at it with about 12 seconds left. I mean, what was going through your mind as you guys inbound the ball in a tie ball game there?
Yeah, well, naturally I sub in what I feel is my best defensive lineup with about 20 seconds to go or something, thinking, and I told him in the timeout, I said, I love that we're in this situation. This is an opportunity for us to get a stop, to secure a victory, and naturally we foul and put them on the line, and then they got 2 free throws to go. We're up 1, so sub in 2 of my offensive playmakers, and they go to the line, they make the first one, and I'm just sitting there thinking, just give us a shot at it with maybe a missed shot here, and they miss that second free throw. And I'm a fan of just letting them play, right? Let the player, don't call a timeout and draw something up. Let the players decide it. So come down and nearly tried to throw it to the Royals there on a pass, and it was a great rip by Edward Luol there. And once we got it into Marquez Tyree's hands, I was really confident that we were going to win that game in regulation. He's been finishing it so well around the basket for us here in the month of January, especially against length, which has been very important for us as an undersized team. And so I've been telling people I knew once he got in his hands, we were going to win that game. And so then at that point, after that, it just became, okay, is there any time left on the clock? And so I was watching the refs. They counted it, and they got out of there quickly. And so I was pretty happy after that. So good way to end the game.
Well, to get a win like that on the road, especially at this point in the year where you still got a lot of conference games ahead of you, what can that do for your team confidence-wise? What do you feel like it did for your team on that bus ride home last night? I'm sure that was pretty exciting for your guys. What do you feel like that can provide for this group?
Yeah, it did a lot. I tell our guys, every game in our conference schedule, especially being a Division II NJCAA level school in a primary NJCAA Division I conference, every game is going to be a dogfight for us. It's going to be a battle. We're not going to win a lot of comfortable games by a wide margin. So every game we can get is huge. And our goals this year, we really want to host the Region 13 NJCAA D2 tournament. It really comes down to who finishes better between us and United Tribes Technical College in our Mondac standings. So to be now sitting at 2-0 is huge, and we tell our guys all the time, every game that we can get is huge, and it really does set up a big game against United Tribes here in Botno next Monday, a week from today.
Yeah, I want to circle back to that and talk to you a little bit about the United Tribes game, but you started off the year with 2 losses against teams that you're really familiar with, but those don't count towards your conference standings. And then after that, it kind of seems like you guys flipped a switch. I mean, from a record standpoint, at least. And now you've been super successful against teams at your level. Well, was there a difference there? Did you see a difference there? Was it just a matter of a slow start and getting your legs underneath you, or what was kind of the recipe that's now led to the success of this team this season?
Yeah, we had a lot of newcomers. We had 10 new incoming freshmen this year, so just getting everybody acclimated and trying to see where everybody's going to fit into that mix, along with the 4 returning guys that we have, was certainly challenging. And so it contributed to a bit of a slow start. And we spent a lot of the fall semester trying to figure out where everybody was going to fit into our program. And so we've had some we've had some tough losses. We had a game against Central Community College down in Wapaton where we were up 16 points at halftime, and I think we only scored 14 points or something like that in the second half. We don't make a three. We go 2 for 9 from the from the free throw line. And we had a 10-point lead for most of that half. We got really tight offensively. We lost a couple games right before break to Dickinson State's JV team, to University of Jamestown's JV team. But I think what this team does really well is we learn from our losses. And that's been really impressive to see, especially with, like I said, a really young group overall. We learned from the Central game, and when we played Williston this last week, we had a 14-point halftime lead, and we lost that almost immediately in the second half. And but it never fazed us. We didn't get tight. We didn't worry about, are we going to lose this game, and we just worried about winning and moving on to the next play. We were down 7 yesterday at halftime to Lake Region, and there was no bitterness, there's no infighting, there's no blame game, none of that stuff. It's just focused on how are we going to win this game. And so I went in the locker room yesterday. I said, I love that we're down 7 points. It's putting us in a position to learn how to fight back into a game and learn how to take a lead and then be able to hold on to that lead. And so this team has done a great job of learning from our losses, and that's what the great teams do. They learn from their losses. They don't let one loss become 2, become 4, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think maybe one of the best things for us was to lose those games right before Christmas, because we came back a much hungrier group. I'm hoping we don't have to have a lot more of those to refocus us, those losses to refocus us. Hopefully we can refocus and after winning games and stay humble and be able to keep moving on. But yeah, we've done a great job learning.
Well, you mentioned that you got a lot of new guys on this team, a lot of new faces that you're trying to mold together and figure out where the pieces fit and that kind of thing. I mean, at this point in the season, do you feel like you have gotten a better grasp on that? I mean, you mentioned Marquez really making an impact here lately, but in terms of all the pieces coming together, do you feel like you're in a good spot for the long term of the rest of the season with that?
I do, yeah. I think we've really got a solid rotation going, and it's tough because I've got a few other guys that I'd love to play consistently, but it's just so tough. We were playing 12 guys in the fall, and it's just so tough to get consistent minutes and allow them to be able to get comfortable while playing, and to give everybody enough minutes to get comfortable playing with each other and our system, getting used to playing the college level, all those things. So we've had to cut it down a little bit, and it's worked out really well since we've come back from break. We've been playing more of a 9-man rotation, and it's really seems like guys are starting to figure out what their roles are. Guys like Elijah Reynolds, he had a heck of a week for us, scoring 32 points against Williston in only 23 minutes, and then backing it up with 24 again yesterday. Jaden Arzola as a returner, he hit 8 threes for us yesterday. He was our leading scorer last year. He's starting to find his way back. Edward Luwal is figuring out how to score, and more as a driver and a post-up guy for us this year. And Damian Toposkovic, he's been a great scorer from the forward spot for us. But then we've got other guys like Marquez, Tyree, and Ethan Short that are great defenders for us. They're guys that we put on the other team's best players, and they take pride in shutting somebody down. And Marquez has been coming along in the scoring column for us, which has been awesome. But those 2 guys' primary additions to us. And Charlie Markham, he's a shooter for us. Ethan Short is a shooter for us. Those guys are going through a bit of a slump right now, but to get them back into their role, that's the other beautiful part. Is guys are learning who they are and how they fit into this team, and they're accepting roles. If they don't accept it, it doesn't work. And so I think that's where it's starting to work for us, is they're accepting roles and doing what they can to help the team just win.
When you talk about your team in general, obviously it's nothing new to schools of your size, but just looking at your roster and seeing 5 Australian guys and a few Canadian guys and stuff like that. I mean, what goes into the recruiting process for you guys to be able to pull, people from all kinds of different directions? Number one, what goes into the recruiting process that enables you to do that? And then number two, how fun is the challenge of bringing together a group that comes from so many different backgrounds and trying to make it mesh together?
Yeah, it is a crazy experience every year. It changes every year. There's a lot of coaches out there in the college ranks that talk about shotgun recruiting, that they recruit quite a few different guys, and they or maybe from different backgrounds and things like that. I call ours fishing net recruiting. We really have to toss that net out there far and wide. We have an ability to offer partial scholarships. So in men's basketball, for example, our recruits they all want that full ride scholarship, and a partial scholarship doesn't really move the needles so much for them. So we do a lot of recruiting after the season, and sort of let those schools that can offer full scholarships take the guys that they take, and we take a lot of guys that fall through the cracks. Elijah Reynolds, for example, he falls through the cracks because he's listed at 5'10" on our website, but that's probably giving him a couple inches, and it's just things like that. Some of our international guys don't get as great of an opportunity to get seen by U.S. schools as U.S. guys do, and so we really try to take those guys that need an opportunity, those guys that are looking for an opportunity, that fall through the cracks, and so it's different every year. We've made a little inroads into some European countries. Here over the last couple of years, we've gotten a couple guys out of Serbia that have made a wonderful contribution to our program, and I would love to bring in a bunch of North Dakota guys. It's just so difficult because all of our schools in North Dakota, all of the colleges do such a great job recruiting North Dakota guys that play and are going to be able to play at the college level. It's really difficult. You have to battle a lot of schools to try to get guys from the state, and so we've had to branch out, and we've branched out to Australia from day one. We've had guys from Canada. We've had guys, like I said, from Serbia this year. But in the past, we've had New Zealand. We've had Spain. We've had the Netherlands, along with around the country. And it is a challenge to get them to mesh and things like that. But I think what Botno offers is that small town. Yeah, there's not a lot to do, but that eliminates the distractions. So they have to spend time together. They live in the same dorm. They're 30 seconds away from really anything on campus. They have to spend time together. And so by spending that time together, they find the commonalities that bind them together. And they really, in my time here anyway, our guys have traditionally, year in and year out, have developed really tight bonds with each other I remember our sophomores this year, when they come back this fall, they hugged each other. They didn't handshake or fist bump or any of that stuff. They hugged each other, and that was awesome to see. I'm hoping that's part of what they get from this experience, is those lifelong friends, lifelong memories that they take with them from here.
Well, you mentioned one of the big goals this year is hosting that Region 13 tournament, and you're in a dead sprint with United Tribes to be able to do that. Obviously, they've got a first-year head coach. As you get ready to play them here in about a week, they've got a couple big games between now and then. What have you seen out of United Tribes this year early on? I mean, as they've kind of pivoted with a new coach and that kind of thing. I mean, what have you seen from them, and how do you slow them down and keep them from scoring 110 points or whatever?
And that's always the challenge, right? Is to limit them from scoring 100 points plus. And no, they're really coming along. They were kind of like us. We played in the 7th place game down in Newtown, and I think we had a lot of new guys. They had a lot of new guys, but they also had the challenge of having a new coach in Rob McLean, and I think he's doing a tremendous job. He's a very steady presence, and I think a lot of 18, 19-year-olds need that in their life. And he's been a great role model as a guy that played there and moved on from there and had great success playing college basketball, pro basketball. Came back as an assistant coach, so he's got a lot of experience there. They're going to be playing their best basketball this spring here, and they can beat anybody on a given night. They match up with North Dakota State College of Science tonight. They match up with Williston State later this week, and it will not be a surprise to me if they take one of those or both of those games this week here. And Rob's doing a great job with their guys. They've had some injury trouble as well, I know, but they're getting healthy and they're meshing at the right time of the year, and they're going to be a huge challenge for us next Monday, but also in February and in March when we play in that Region 13 tournament. So I'm looking forward to those battles, and I'm hoping that my experience, maybe I can old man them a little bit, but we'll see what happens.
Just last thing real quick, how much can you take away from the fact that, I know you've got one game this week, but the fact that they play two really tough teams between now and then, how much can you take away, and how closely will you be watching those two games?
Yeah, I think we can take away a lot. It's how they start their conference play. They have yet to play a conference game. Just with having 7 teams in the Mondac, there's always a team off, and then with some scheduling issues with gyms and things like that around our conference, we've had to play 2 conference games. They haven't played yet, but now they've got to play 2, and we don't play any this week. It's a unique schedule, but there's a lot we're going to be able to learn. Obviously, playing a common opponent in Williston, they'll play them this week, and we've already played them. It'll be very telling to see how they match up with them, how well they play. Where do we think we can have some advantages? And I've got it written down on the calendar tonight. Got it written down on the calendar for later this week. I'm going to be watching those in earnest, and I know our guys are as well, and that'll be more important than me watching it. They're the ones that got to go out and make the play. So hopefully they learn more than me, honestly, and we can get the job done next Monday.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Karl, I appreciate you coming on and chatting with us. Best of luck this week. I know you kind of have a little bit of an easier week this week, but best of luck this week, and then excited to see how things go against United Tribes next week.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It was great to be with you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Have a good one. All right, that's Karl Sorby, the head men's basketball coach at Dakota College at Bottineau. Dakota College at Bottineau off to a great start. 14-5 on the year, and like he said, they've got a big one coming against United Tribes next week. United Tribes will play tonight against North Dakota State College of Sciences, and then I believe it's Thursday they host Williston State. So going to have coverage from that men's game tonight on KFYR, so be sure to tune in for that as well. And with that, we welcome our next guest. He's not really a guest. I'm sitting in his seat. We're just switching spots.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? No. Yeah, Jay Dillon. Gosh, man, what a weekend of football.
I was just talking to one of our colleagues out there in the hallway, and I have a really dear friend of mine who is an Oregon Duck fan and a Green Bay Packer fan. Imagine what his Monday's like.
Tough Monday,
It's a tough Monday for him, but
tough Monday.
That Chicago Bear game, so Saturday night I settled in, 6:30-ish or so, and made a nice meal and got down, and I thought, the Chicago team, they have a really good chance at winning this game. This is what Ben Johnson was brought on to this organization, is to win games such as this, okay? Right. So I'm watching the game, and we go for it right away, 4th down, and I thought, that's pretty risky.
Yeah. Bold.
I know that Ben, when his Detroit time, he was pretty, so we went for it. We didn't get it. I didn't like that decision, to be honest with you. I didn't like the second decision when they were on their own 30 and they went for it. That was even worse. Yeah. So kind of regretting my Saturday night decision. And it's 21-3, and I'm really regretting it. But then, I kind of thought about it a little bit. This team, they've had 6 come from behind wins so far in the season. Don't count them out.
Right.
But then the third quarter started, and things didn't get any better. Let's be honest. They scored another one. Dobbs scored a touchdown. We were getting back in it, climbing back into it, and I could kind of feel a little momentum swing coming our way. And I'll tell you when I thought, listen, we could win this game, when it was 4th and 8, and Caleb is rolling out to his left, and he's off the ground, and he throws the ball in between 3 defenders. And I thought, I don't know, something's just different.
That was a heck of a pass. Ben Johnson, I want to talk about him in a second. But, yeah, I mean, you mentioned they were down 21-3, and at that point, I turned off the game for a little bit because let me backtrack. Going into it, I thought the Bears had a pretty good chance of winning, and then it was 21-3, and I was like, wow, they're just going to beat the brakes off of them. Like, what, are the Bears even going to show up? But it's crazy that in the 2 wins that the Bears got over the Packers, that they never led for a minute of those games, and they still came out with 2 huge wins.
It's quite amazing how that works out, right? Some miscues on the Packers side. I mean, the first half we weren't getting, and I say we. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Chicago Bears. So
you didn't see Jay suited up on the sideline down there.
Exactly. So when the Chicago Bears, they didn't get any pressure on Love. I mean, Love was back in the pocket.
Yeah.
He was looking around. Oh, you're open. I'll throw it to you. Oh, you're open. And that seemed to be the whole thing with that first half. And I think when you go into halftime, that's what you do, right? You make adjustments. And did it seem like LaFleur was making adjustments for the second half? I don't know. Maybe on the fly. It didn't seem to me he was, right?
Well, a lot of people questioning what that third quarter looked like on the Packers side. And I know that reports came out today from Adam Schefter that the Packers are intending on keeping Matt LaFleur, that they're trying to work towards contract negotiations to extend him and stuff like that. I think that's a whole different, conversation.
Sure.
But, I mean, how exciting is this as a Bears fan that's gone through a lot of bad football?
A lot of bad football.
To get a win like that in your home stadium and now you advance. I mean, how cool is this?
Well, it was pretty electric, and you could see on the TV and you could hear from the crowd. Chicago fans needed something like this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've had the 2010 where we lost to the Packers and Aaron Rodgers went on to win the Super Bowl that year. 2018, the double doink.
Yeah.
It seems, and I've told you this theory, that Chicago has got this where lightning strikes Chicago every once in a while. You got the 05, 06 Super Bowl year, then the 10 NFC Championship, the 18 where they're just super good. But in between those times, they're terrible.
Yeah.
They go 4-12 or whatever it is, right? Or 4-13. They just can't get a good season. Then the next year, they're 13-4. What happens to them? So we're hoping, because we won a game. That's awesome. And trust me, I'm really happy that we won the game, especially against the Packers. Because believe it or not, that's the third time we've only met them in the postseason, right?
Yeah, I know. That's a crazy stat.
That is really crazy. So I'm glad we won it, but there's still a lot of playoffs left. Another double doink could be in the offing for Chicago, right?
Yeah.
So, but I feel things are different because with the coaches that we had before, other than Lovie Smith, who I thought was a very good football coach.
I like Lovie Smith, yeah.
We've had some very bad coaches, very bad coach staff in Chicago. So, but this changes. This feels a little bit different. It did not, I'll be honest, with the first half Saturday night.
Probably felt very familiar.
We all kind of felt, oh man, I mean, a pretty good run. Things were pretty good. We made the playoffs. That's awesome. And then things started turning around a little bit. We started getting pressure. I'm worried about this upcoming weekend. And I don't think they have announced the time yet, have they?
I don't think so.
They were still.
I don't think so. I haven't seen it yet.
So it worries me that we're having to cover Adams and Nakua, 2 of the best receiving tandems in football. Our defensive backs, albeit I think we have an all-pro, we could use some work back there.
Yeah.
Dennis Allen's going to have to really get a good scheme going.
Dial it up, yeah. I want to talk about this coming week here in a minute, but because you were talking about coaches, let's go back to Ben Johnson for a minute. I'm sure you've seen the viral clip of him in the locker room afterwards, and he doubled down on it, and he said, listen, this is what this is supposed to be. This is a rivalry.
Yep.
This is what Chicago should be and what Green Bay should be, and this is, the intensity that should be behind it. And everyone, sees the clip of him shaking Matt LaFleur's hand afterwards, and it's a quick, bump and you're out of there. There's no love lost between those two. But what do you think about that whole thing?
I'm not crazy about that, to be honest with you. I like it for him and just the guys in the room.
Yeah.
I don't need the outside world, and I don't need the Green Bay Packer players. And I don't care about the fans.
Yeah.
I don't need the players seeing that because, again, that's more billboard, right?
Right.
When you have the other coaches, and that just gets them fired up. That makes them stay in the gym longer. Makes Love throw 2 hours of more practice time every night for playing again. We don't need that.
Right.
If you want to tell your players that without cameras there, I encourage it.
Right.
But to put it out on Front Street, I don't think. Ben Johnson, listen, I love you, guy. You've had his full season with us, but I'm not a big fan of doing that.
Yeah.
I don't see Saban doing it.
Yeah.
These
that's true.
great coaches.
That's true.
That, they'll tell their guys in the locker room, this is our locker room. Whatever we say stays in here.
Right.
I don't need the press. I don't need to tell the press that I don't like Matt LaFleur, I don't like the Packers, or I don't like the Vikings. That's a given. We already know that. I think he stuck his foot in his mouth when he said that I look forward to playing Matt LaFleur twice a year.
Yeah.
Or beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
That's always going to be something that Green Bay fans are going to go back to no matter when it is.
Exactly. And just so happened.
But he has had success against him.
He has. You're right. This is a big game for him on Saturday. If he would have lost that game, right?
Right.
That would have been huge for the Packers, and it would have been, TBSS, if you know what that stands for. So, anyway, I don't like it personally.
Yeah.
But he's, hey, listen, if he can take us farther than any other coach can take us,
do what you will, right?
Exactly.
I mean, it adds a lot of fuel to the rivalry, that's for sure. And it just feels like, because I was in Wisconsin for a little while and got to cover the Packers and things like that, and so much of that was, we're playing the Bears. That's going to be a win,
Sure.
And so now, still texting with friends that I have that are in Wisconsin, but also some friends that are Bears fans intermixed in that group. It feels like there's just more to it now, and it makes it more exciting knowing that, hey, we're not just expecting the Bears to lay down and this is going to be an easy expected win.
Right. It feels different, doesn't it, Luke? I mean, I can go back to 2010 where we had Jay Cutler. We had a quarterback. Jay Cutler, whether you liked him or not, and he was indifferent on the sidelines. Sometimes he would just sit there like, I don't care.
Yeah.
He threw an interception. We're on the 10-yard line. He threw it. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. But this time it feels a little bit different where I think he's got all the assets. Caleb Williams has got all the assets to be a great quarterback, an all-pro quarterback. We've got a good coach now. We don't have Fox. What was the Fox's name? The guy who was the coach, whatever. We don't have a coach like that anymore. We've got somebody that is talented. The play that he drew up for our go-ahead touchdown, that was a great fake the screen or the wide receiver screen and then let DJ funnel out. Perfect. I thought that was a great play. But I just like the thought that we have something different as fans. That's what we feel anyway, and I think he brings that to the locker room as well.
Yeah. I think there's some value in the emotion too, right? I mean, you said that you don't necessarily like what Ben Johnson's doing, but even seeing Caleb Williams after the game and just how excited and fired up he was, I think there's some value in that and just being able to charge a team, right? Because they're going to look at their quarterback, for inspiration. I think there's some value in him showing like, hey, this is something that means a lot to me, right? That we beat the Packers, that we won a playoff game. And it's interesting, too, to hear Caleb Williams say that Ben Johnson has meant so much to him personally.
Got emotional.
I thought that was pretty cool.
He did.
Just to see a little behind the scenes of, maybe you're not going to see many NFL players get emotional like that and say that about their head coach, I don't think.
Yeah, no, you will not. And that just goes to the testament of how this coach has, affected and reached Caleb Williams, who last year, let's not forget, his first year, rookie year, a lot of people in the league were saying, did they make the right decision with the number one pick in Caleb Williams?
Yeah.
He's playing okay, but is this the right decision? Did Chicago waste it? Well, this coaching staff shows that they probably did make the right decision.
And obviously Ben Johnson's been a huge part of that. And Caleb Williams, I mean, he came up just shy of 4,000 in the regular season, but after the postseason game, he's over 4,000, right?
Sure.
That counts for something. But
It does.
looking ahead to this week, I mean, another tough matchup. The Rams have been insane offensively for sure. I mean, Matt Stafford, it's so funny. We were watching the game the other night, and Matt Stafford's a Georgia guy, so I kind of pull for him a little bit, you know. But my wife goes, man, he's old. Whenever he was doing his post-game presser, and I was like, yeah, he is old. Like, I grew up watching this guy at Georgia, and it's fantastic to see him be, you know, a seasoned veteran and still playing as well as he is at this age.
And he's so smart.
Yeah.
He is so smart. His football IQ, I mean, he knows exactly what he needs to do as far as play is concerned. Of course, he's a quarterback. He's been around the league, as you said, quite a veteran. What worries me are the two receivers, Nakua and Adams. Those two, with our defensive backs, Dennis Allen's going to have to scheme up something really good to stop those guys, right? So that's what worries me. As far as their defense is concerned, I think our offense, we went toe-to-toe with San Francisco, if you remember 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Back and forth, they scored, we scored, they scored. So as far as our offense is concerned, I think that we could hang with them. We just need to stop them somehow.
Oh, and you never know what Sean McVay is going to do either. I mean, he's probably one of the best football minds out there.
Absolutely.
And you never know what he's going to scheme up, and then what the Bears defense is going to look like there. But even the Rams defense on the flip side, I mean, I think they've been pretty good. Jared Verse is a guy that comes to mind that has been really good, that, you know, every time I turn on one of their games, I feel like I'm seeing his name. But so I'm interested to see how Caleb Williams does against their defense.
Do you feel that Chicago's playing with house money now, because this game, only if it because it was Green Bay. If it was any other team, Philadelphia, Carolina, whoever it might have been, if we would have played them, we lost the game. Hey, we had a good season. We made the playoffs.
Right.
Next year's our year. Do you feel that now, because we had to beat Green Bay just because they were Green Bay?
Because there's more to it, right?
Yes, but now it's house money, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. And obviously, if you go and you get a win against the Rams, then it's, you know, hey, then you got to look at, we got to compete for a Super Bowl right now. I mean,
I think if you beat the Rams, then I think you're really sending a notice to the NFC next year, like, we should be up there favored. You know, I'm not saying favored, but we should be up there in 2 or 3, if not favored, right?
Yeah.
So,
flip side, AFC, who do you think is going to come out? Obviously, still one more game to be played. Do you think Rodgers gets it done, or?
I think this is the game that Rodgers probably hangs up his cleats. I got the Texans. I think that defense is too strong for them, but they're playing at home. We'll see how it plays out. And Rodgers, that guy, he's tormented me for all these years, right? So I can't pick against him.
Yeah.
But I did pick against him. I think the Texans will win tonight. And as far as the AFC is concerned, I think this is Josh's year. I think Josh has got to get it done this year. He's going to have a tough battle against the Patriots and also the Broncos. Those
Quick
are the
point,
two
though.
teams.
Him and Stafford both kind of banged up their hands over the weekend. So I haven't seen anything this morning about what that looks like, if there's actually some kind of injury, you know, something realistic to that. But I think Stafford hit his hand on a helmet or something like that, and a similar thing with Josh Allen. So I'm interested to see how that impacts both of those guys as they head into round 2. But this was fun. A little preview of what football forecast will look like later this week.
Yeah, later Thursday at 12:30, and then hopefully next week you'll jump on so we can get the AFC NFC Championship. We'll talk about that. That'll be, of course, the following week. So looking forward to the games. And real quick, like next Monday, a week from today, we've got Indiana, Miami. Your thoughts just initially?
Indiana, I don't know who's going to beat them.
They just look so
it makes
solid,
me so mad as a Georgia fan, because I feel like Georgia could have beaten Miami if they would have been in a similar position, but they just, blew it, and then Miami goes on and wins a big game, and I don't. Indiana's way too good. After seeing them do what they did to Oregon, I don't think anybody's going to stop them.
They look so well-rounded, so well-coached, that I think, are they a 7.5-point favorite?
Yeah, something like that.
I think they
I
cover
think it's
that.
going to be more
Yeah,
than that.
I think they cover that, to be honest with you.
All right. Thanks, Jay.
You bet.
All right, well, we appreciate you guys joining us this Monday afternoon on the Dakota Drive as we wrap things here up on January 12th. Next couple of weeks going to look a little bit different. Going to be gone for the holiday and then off to Hawaii for a long trip, so that should be exciting. So we're going to have a couple different people in here, but we hope you join us again next Monday from 2 to 3 p.m. Central right here on the Dakota Drive. Have a good rest of your Monday and a good rest of your week.